Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Sitharaman Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India stands in solidarity with Canada. PM Modi offers condolences after 10 die in British Columbia school shooting. Israel PM Netanyahu to push Trump on Iran missile program in White House talks. Iran says will not give in to excessive demands. Russia warns of military response if Greenland sees increased Western forces. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman addresses Indian Parliament on national budget, highlights centre's infra push and focus on waterways. In a tragic shooting incident in Canada, at least 10 people were killed on Tuesday in a remote part of Western region. 6 people were found dead inside a high school in Tumbler Ridge. 2 more people were found dead at a residence believed to be connected to the incident, and another person died on the way to hospital. A suspected shooter was also found dead from what appears to be a self-inflicted injury. According to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, 27 people were injured, including 2 with serious injuries. Tumbler Ridge is a remote municipality with a population of around 2,400 people located in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains in northern British Columbia. Canadian Prime Minister expressed grief over the deadly school shooting and suspended his planned visit to the Munich Security Conference. Mark Carney expressed his devastation over the shooting. He offered prayers and condolences to the victims' families and friends. Following the tragedy, the Prime Minister's office confirmed that his scheduled trip to the Munich Security Conference has been suspended. Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended his heartfelt condolences to the families who have lost their loved ones in a shooting incident in Canada. In a message posted on X, PM Modi said, and I quote, "Deeply shocked by the horrendous shooting in Canada, I extend my heartfelt condolences to the families who have lost their loved ones and wish a speedy recovery to the injured. India stands in solidarity with the people of Canada in this moment of profound grief." Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with Special Envoy to US President Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner in Washington on Tuesday. He is also expected to meet Donald Trump, and this will be the 7th meeting between Trump and Netanyahu since the US president returned to office last year. They also met in Jerusalem in October last year when Trump announced a ceasefire in Gaza. Wednesday's meeting comes days after Iran and the United States held talks in Oman, after which Trump said another round of negotiations would follow. The discussion is also expected to focus on energy issues and deregulation.
Tomorrow here at the White House, the president will host Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for a bilateral meeting. The remainder of the week will be focused on energy and deregulation.
Qatar's Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani held a telephonic conversation with the US President Donald Trump on Wednesday. The Emiri Divan said that the two leaders discussed efforts for regional de-escalation and stability. The call comes ahead of a meeting between Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu, where Israeli Prime Minister is expected to press him to widen US talks with Iran to include curbs on Tehran's missile arsenal. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian on Wednesday said Tehran would not yield to excessive demands over its nuclear program, even as talks with the United States resume. Speaking at Tehran's Azadi Square during the 47th anniversary of the Islamic Revolution, he reiterated that Iran is not seeking an atomic weapon and is ready for verification of its nuclear activities. Negotiations between Iran and the US restarted last week for the first time since last June's conflict with Israel, during which the US carried out strikes on Iranian nuclear sites.
Our country, Iran, will not yield to their excessive demands. Iran will not give in to injustice or aggression, but with all our capacity and in pursuit of peace and stability in the region, We are engaged in dialogue with our neighboring countries. The problem of the region can be solved by those who live in the region.
The European Union on Wednesday said it wanted to tighten drone registration, create no-fly zones and ramp up detection at critical sites after a string of unexplained sightings rocked European countries last year. The spate of mysterious flights that shut airports, buzzed military bases and passed near nuclear sites laid bare gaps in Europe's security in the face of worries over the threat from Russia. The new action plan announced by Brussels is meant to cover the civilian sector following the launch of an initiative to build a system of military counter-drone defenses last year. EU officials said that as part of the efforts, they want to step up the mandatory registration of drones across the bloc to be able to better keep track of potential menaces. Brussels wants to expand regulation to cover smaller drones from the current lower limit of 250 grams to 100 grams. A political storm linked to Jeffrey Epstein is intensifying on both sides of the Atlantic. In Washington, U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick is facing mounting calls to resign after admitting he once visited Epstein's private island. Meanwhile, in Britain, Prime Minister Keir Starmer is battling pressure within his own party over an Epstein-linked appointment. Here's a report by DD India's Harshita Oberoi. Have a look.
Mounting pressure is building on U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick as fresh revelations revive scrutiny of his past links to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. At the center of the storm, Lutnick's admission that he had lunch on Epstein's private Caribbean island in 2012, years after he had previously claimed to have severed all ties with the late financier. Emailed records now show plans for a meeting at Epstein Island. Lutnick insists there was nothing improper about the visit. He maintains he saw no wrongdoing and said only his family, another couple, and Epstein's staff were present at the time.
I met Jeffrey Epstein when I moved to a house next door to him in New York. Right? And I met him then. Over the next 14 years, I met him 2 other times that I can recall. 2 times. And that is none for 6 years. So 6 years later, I met him. And then a year and a half after that, I met him and never again. Probably the total, and you've seen all of these documents, of these millions and millions of documents, there may be 10 emails connecting me with him, probably about 10 emails connecting me with him over a 14-year period. I did not have any relationship with him. I barely had anything to do with that person.
Despite growing calls for his resignation, President Donald Trump's administration has stood firmly by Lutnick.
No, Secretary Lutnick remains a very important member of President Trump's team, and the president fully supports the secretary.
Across the Atlantic, Epstein controversy is brewing up a political tempest for UK PM Keir Starmer. He's come under pressure over his decision to appoint veteran Labour figure Peter Mandelson as ambassador to Washington. A day after facing demands to step down, Prime Minister confirmed he will lead the Labour Party into the next election.
Well, what's happened over the last few days is that we've pulled together as a party and been absolutely crystal clear about the fight we need to have. And that's the fight on behalf of all the people in this country who don't get the respect, the dignity and the chance that they deserve in life. That is the fight that we are in. That's who we're fighting for. I'm their Prime Minister and this is their government.
Starmer now faces a key by-election on February 26th, followed by local elections in May, votes that could shape his and his party's future. Harshita Oberoi, DD India.
Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said on Wednesday that Russia will keep observing the missile and warhead limits in the New START nuclear treaty with the United States, which expired last week, as long as Washington continues to do the same. The 2010 treaty ran out on February 5th, leaving the world's 2 biggest nuclear-armed powers with no binding constraints on their strategic nuclear arsenals. US President Donald Trump declined a formal proposal from Russian President Vladimir Putin to voluntarily abide by the New START limits for another year. Lavrov said Moscow would stick to the limits itself for now.
The United States has given no official response to President Putin's initiative that both sides continue to voluntarily observe the Strategic Offensive Arms Treaty central limits on strategic offensive nuclear-capable arms. Our position is that this moratorium on our side that was declared by the President is still in place, but only as long as the United States doesn't exceed the said limits. Overall, we will act responsibly and carefully based on our analysis of US military policy, which we conduct on a daily basis, and our assessment of the overall strategic situation.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said on Wednesday that Moscow will take military countermeasures if the West boosts its own military footprint on Greenland. Several European countries have sent small contingents of troops to Greenland in recent weeks after President Donald Trump repeatedly said he wanted to annex the Arctic island. Lavrov said in a speech to Russian lawmakers that Russia will take adequate countermeasures, including military technical ones.
Of course, in the event of the militarization of Greenland and the creation of military capabilities aimed at Russia, we will take adequate countermeasures, including military ones. Our principled position is clear. Nevertheless, the Arctic should remain a zone of peace and cooperation.
Britain announced on Wednesday it will boost its troops stationed in Norway and play a vital role in a NATO Arctic mission in face of rising Russian threats. The UK's decision to double its troops in Norway from 1,000 to 2,000 in the next 3 years comes as the US was set to relinquish two top national, in fact regional NATO command posts to press allies to take greater responsibility for their defence. The UK and Norway last December signed a new defence pact that would see their navies jointly operate a warship in the North Atlantic. The United States on Tuesday moved to further relax restrictions on Venezuela's oil sector, expanding efforts to let American companies resume operations after state controls were lifted. The U.S. Treasury Department issued a license permitting certain transactions with Venezuela's government and state-run oil company PDVSA to supply goods, technology and software for oil and gas exploration and production. Additional licenses authorize specific dealings required for port and airport operations and allow limited activities involving Venezuelan origin crude. Washington has supported the government of interim President Delcy Rodriguez in exchange for access to vast oil reserves. Submerged streets, downed trees and wires, roofs blown off, the aftermath of deadly cyclone Gazani after it makes landfall in Madagascar. Drone images shared by the National Office for Risk and Disaster Management show the impact of the powerful storm, with winds up to 250 kilometers per hour in the country's second largest city, Tomasina. Officials say at least 20 people have lost their lives, the toll going up from initial 9 reportedly killed. From Argentina to Australia, record heat and raging fires are tearing through the southern hemisphere at the start of 2026 as scientists expect more sweltering temperatures following 3 years of record heat. In January, a record-setting heat dome enveloped Australia, sending temperatures near 50 degrees Celsius, while heat waves and catastrophic wildfires erupted throughout South America, setting remote parts of Argentina's Patagonia ablaze and tearing through coastal towns in Chile, killing 21. This is happening while the world is still under the global cooling effects of week at La Niña that began in December 2024, but instead of relatively cool temperatures, records have been set across the globe. And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Sacred Devni Mori relics of Lord Buddha returns home to India. And Bangladesh is all set for February 12 elections.
गर फिरदौस बर्रुएज जमी است.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. All preparations have been completed in Bangladesh for the upcoming referendum and the 13th National Parliament elections. The 13th National Elections and referendum will be held on 12th of February as voting will take place simultaneously in 299 parliamentary constituencies across the country. Election materials have already been dispatched to polling centres. Around 15 types of equipment, including ballot boxes, ballot papers, seals, pads and indelible ink were distributed. Nearly 900,000 law enforcement personnel have been deployed at the field level to ensure security during the election. Voting will be held in a total of 42,779 polling centres in the country. A total of 50 political parties, in fact, near to 51 political parties are participating in the polls. A total of 2,028 candidates are contesting in this election. Ahead of Bangladesh elections, parties are expressing concerns over incidents of violence. Meetings with BNP Election Management Committee held to discuss the issues of security, inclusion and the overall election situation. While Islamic leaders call on voters to support Bangladesh Nationalist Party, the coalition party leader has accused Jamaat-e-Islami of spreading extremist messages after the July 2024 uprising. At this sensitive time, a Bangladeshi Hindu businessman was killed on Monday night, raising fears of targeted violence ahead of polls. There have been repeated concerns raised by the rights groups and observers about the safety of vulnerable communities. To ensure security during the polling, nearly 900,000 members of the army, police and other forces have been deployed. Election Commissioner Abul Fazl Mohammed said that Bangladesh has a comprehensive security structure in place and the international people can feel free to move anywhere.
Few miscellaneous points. We have a comprehensive security structure in place. More than 900,000 men and women from the law enforcement agencies are deployed to cover the election. For our international friends, feel free to move anywhere. Bangladesh is a very safe place.
The sacred Devnimuri relics of Lord Buddha, venerated for 7 days at the historic Gangaramaya temple in Colombo, Sri Lanka, have been brought back to India in a deeply spiritual and culturally significant journey. For 7 days, thousands of devotees in Colombo paid homage to the relics with discipline, devotion and faith, creating an atmosphere of peace, meditation and compassion. Following the week-long veneration, a high-level Indian delegation brought the sacred relics to India with full respect on a special Government of India aircraft. The delegation included the Governor of Madhya Pradesh and the Deputy Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh, along with other dignitaries. Amid the ongoing budget session of Parliament, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman replied to the discussion on the Union Budget 2026-27 in Lok Sabha. In her initial reply, Finance Minister said that the government is focused on forward-looking initiatives, including the expansion of multi-purpose health facilities, skill development, entrepreneurship and allied health services across various states.
Allied and health service, where we want to set up medical hubs, states can aspire to be a part of it, wherein all the aspects of medical education and hospitals for treatment of patients can all be focused in one area, where nurses or any other 10 different allied health services will have their institutions through which people can learn, get themselves skilled, find jobs there itself, and that will become a medical tourism hub. So any state can qualify, and I'm sure states which have traditional strength.
Artificial intelligence is rapidly reshaping public governance, offering unprecedented opportunities to enhance productivity, responsiveness and accountability. DD India's Tripti Tripathi has more.
Artificial intelligence is rapidly reshaping governance in India, marking a shift from reactive administration to predictive and citizen-centric public service delivery. Under initiatives like Digital India and the National AI Mission, India is using AI to analyze vast public data sets and improve policy implementation across sectors. According to government estimates, India's digital public infrastructure today supports over 1.3 billion Aadhaar identities, 300 crore plus digital payments every month, and millions of real-time service transactions, creating the foundation for AI-driven governance.
The use of artificial intelligence for governance would be very useful because of the multilingual support afforded by AI, and also from the perspective that it need not be written but could also be voice-based, which enhances the ability to reach more citizens for their redressal mechanisms.
Urban governance is witnessing a major AI impact. AI-driven traffic management systems in smart cities have helped reduce congestion and improve response times. Law enforcement and urban governance are also seeing transformation. Predictive analytics supports crime prevention, traffic management, and disaster response in smart cities. AI-driven tools assist in identifying tax evasions, monitoring welfare schemes, and plugging leakages in public spending. The judiciary is adopting AI for case classification, translation across Indian languages, and legal research, supporting faster disposal of cases and courts handling over 5 crore pending cases nationwide. Meanwhile, chatbots and grievance redressal systems are enabling 24/7 citizen engagements, making governance more responsive and inclusive.
It can identify where service delivery is weakening, where resources are leaky, where infrastructure is underused or overloaded, and where citizen needs are shifting, district by district, even ward by ward. And that's where governance starts moving from reactive to predictive.
AI can detect irregularities in welfare, improve targeting precision, forecast demand in healthcare systems, and optimize infrastructure planning. But more importantly, it reshapes how trust is built between institutions and citizens.
As India positions itself as a global digital leader, AI in governance is not about replacing human judgment, but augmenting it. In a democracy of 1 billion people, artificial intelligence is emerging as a force multiplier, delivering smarter policies, efficient administration, and smarter outlook for the people. With camera person Lalit, Tripti Tripathi, DD India, Delhi.
India is stepping into a new era of artificial intelligence, not just in technology hubs, but right down to the farmlands. As New Delhi gears up to host the world's largest AI Impact Summit, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has unveiled a groundbreaking initiative in the Union Budget 2026-27, Bharat Vistar. The AI-powered tool promises to transform agriculture, empowering farmers with data-driven decisions and smarter access to resources. DD India's Rahul Upadhyay brings us more.
New Delhi will host the India AI Impact Summit from February 16 to 20, 2026, expected to be the largest among the 4 global AI summits held so far. With over 35,000 registrations already received and participation anticipated from more than 100 countries, the summit aims to reflect growing global momentum around responsible, inclusive, and impact-driven artificial intelligence. The summit will focus not just on vision, but on real-world execution and outcomes that directly benefit people. With agriculture emerging as a key priority for India, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in the Union Budget 2026-27 announced the launch of Bharat Vistar, a multilingual AI-powered agricultural platform designed to transform how farmers access information, services and markets.
I propose to launch Bharat Vistar, a multilingual AI tool that shall integrate the AgriStack portals and the ICAR package on agricultural practices with AI systems. This will enhance farm productivity, enable better decisions for farmers, and reduce risk by providing customized advisory support.
Bharat Vistar, or virtually integrated system to access agricultural resources, will be a multilingual AI tool that will integrate the AgriStock portals and the ICAR package on agricultural practices with AI systems. Vistar is an open, interoperable and federated public network dedicated to agricultural information and advisory services. A decentralized repository, it will facilitate the discovery and fulfillment of verified agricultural content, best practices, and agri-skilling across diverse private and public provider platforms, enhancing farm productivity through data-driven and timely interventions, improving farmer decision-making at every stage, input, crop production, market, by providing accurate, localized insights, best practices and data services, reducing market risks via customized crop and region-specific advisory support, supporting government in real-time monitoring, improved delivery of agriculture extension services and targeted intervention. Artificial intelligence is transforming Indian agriculture through precision-driven farming techniques, AI-powered crop monitoring using drones and satellite imagery, smart irrigation systems, and advanced pest and disease detection tools are helping farmers reduce losses while improving productivity.
From global leadership in AI to transformation in agriculture sector at the grassroots level, India is using technology for its inclusive growth and rural development. With camera person Rajkumar, this is Rahul Upadhyay reporting from New Delhi for DD India.
Now some sports news. The mega event CISF Cyclothon 2026 was flagged off from Mumbai's iconic Gateway of India, marking a major nationwide initiative under the theme Vande Bharat. The cyclothon had begun simultaneously from West Bengal and Gujarat, symbolizing India's unity and collective spirit as it travelled along the eastern and western coasts of the country. Maharashtra Assembly Speaker, in fact Rahul Narvekar, film producer Boni Kapoor, former cricketer Dilip Vengsarkar, CISF Director General Praveer Ranjan and Mumbai Police Commissioner Deven Bharati were prominently present at the launch event. The dignitaries flagged off the cyclists amid enthusiastic participation from citizens, youth, sportspersons and security personnel. The event aims to spread awareness about coastal security, national unity and fitness, while reinforcing the message of patriotism and social responsibility. That's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on your screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.